Nauman's piece was a drawing, and you had it had to be built, you know, from scratch. It's a very simple but complicated thought process. The simple cinder block house divided in the middle, you know, whatever the overtones of Lincoln or whatever else, and just standing alone in the prairie and the old American house, and along with its divided interior, it reverberates.
What do I like about this piece? I'd like to know the answer. What is going on?
I mean, that Tony Tasset is superb. I mean, look I mean, Paul looks a little tired of doing all that stuff. You know, he's just, oh my God, chopping down these trees. Oh my, yeah, but that's wonderful.
Some artists use concrete, some use steel, some use fiberglass, and others have used the environment.
Be suspicious of terms. Monumental is fine. This is descriptive. You know, large. I mean, you know, outdoor. They're all okay. But you know, we're trying to you're always working with a moving target. If once you got pinned down, the artists are sure to do something else, and then you got to have a new term.
I think it's like initially when you draw, a lot of kids feel, I can't draw a human that looks like a human. Well, if you can draw a human that looks like a stick figure, that's called abstract drawing. That's art. But unfortunately, sometimes young people, and particularly as they get older, feel that means I have no talent, I can't do it. Where an artist would totally disagree with you, that that's another form of art. And that rather than look at it as a negative thing, it has its own category unto itself. Now, if you want more than that, you know, it's okay. There's something leaning towards realism. There are some people that can draw human beings that look like photographic images. Those are basically called more representational. They're leaning towards something that looks pretty much realistic, not necessarily totally realistic, but it's in a human figure. In other words, it doesn't look like a stick figure. So, and then it becomes more abstract. Sometimes it means it has no image whatsoever. It's not meant to be a person or an object or a thing. It's a concept or an idea. This sculpture is one of my favorites because it breaks the stereotype of a hunk of metal or a hunk of wood that's been carved or manipulated into an object or a shape. I think what's particularly nice about this is it becomes part of the environment, and you can see what you want to see and try to find out more than what you can see because there's so much here. So it's one of these that you can experience by being on it and in it and around it, and not just looking at it. And I think the other thing that kids find is so interesting is they're shocked that when they see an aerial view of this piece of artwork, it makes sense what the title is. It's basically the concept of a bow and arrow. And as the shapes are the paths and the trees, the throne is the part of the arrow where you sit and face through that little gate down there. So in a way, your eyes become the arrow. And this is the kind of participation he likes.
Nobody ever satisfactorily answers the question, why do you like this stuff? I once came across a quote from Emily Dickinson's letters. Someone wrote her and asked her, how do you know if it's poetry? And she said, when the top of my head feels like it's blown off and my body turns cold, then I know it's poetry. But then comes another line, is there another way? And that's how I believe it. In other words, it's physical.